Hey everyone, welcome back to Patch Out Tech. Here we dive into the world of tech, AI, and everything that helps us stay ahead of the curve. If you're as excited about the future as I am, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Introduction: The changing landscape of software development. In the world of software development, we're witnessing an unprecedented transformation. With the rapid rise of AI-driven tools like GitHub Copilot, GPT-based coding assistants, and advanced code generation models, the traditional role of a developer is evolving. Tasks that once required a human touch, writing code, debugging, documenting, are increasingly being handled by AI systems that can produce vast amounts of code, troubleshoot, and even generate documentation in seconds. But as AI takes on more responsibility in code creation, a new challenge emerges. The more proficient these systems become, the less we need human coders in the day-to-day development process. This shift is significant because it means that over time, the craft of coding, those nuanced skills that come from hands-on experience, could gradually become a lost art. Without regular practice, future developers may lack the deep understanding and intuition that traditionally come from years of coding. This creates a paradox. We're automating code creation, but in doing so, risk losing the human insight needed to understand and guide that automation. And let's be honest, having a few humans around to keep an eye on things is probably a wise choice if we want to avoid our own version of Skynet. This is where the code custodian role becomes essential. Much like artisans of the past who upheld craftsmanship amidst industrialization, code custodians would serve as the stewards of AI-driven development, ensuring that the code generated by machines aligns with quality standards, organizational goals, and ethical guidelines. They'd be responsible for interpreting, validating, and contextualizing AI outputs, bridging the gap between automated efficiency and human accountability. In this post, we'll define the code custodian role, explore the responsibilities and skills required, and discuss why this role will become indispensable as AI continues to reshape software development. We'll also examine how developers today can begin preparing for this role, establishing a foundation for a future where human oversight and AI-driven automation work hand in hand. Defining the code custodian role. As AI systems take on a growing share of coding responsibilities, the need for a specialized human role, the code custodian, becomes clear. This role is not about writing lines of code, but rather about overseeing, guiding, and validating the AI's work to ensure it aligns with organizational standards, ethical guidelines, and long-term goals. The code custodian operates as a steward of AI-driven development, much like a skilled artisan maintaining quality and consistency in a field where mass automation has become the norm. Responsibilities of a code custodian. Quality assurance and standards compliance. A core duty of the code custodian is to ensure that AI-generated code meets established quality and coding standards. This involves defining and maintaining guidelines for coding practices, documentation, testing, and error handling. The custodian checks that the AI adheres to these standards and adjusts the AI's guidance as needed to avoid deviations from best practices. In a sense, the code custodian is the quality gate for AI-driven development. Interpretation and contextualization. AI-generated code can be syntactically correct, yet miss the mark on broader intent or project goals. The custodian plays a vital role in interpreting the code within its larger context, ensuring it aligns with the project's purpose and integrates seamlessly into existing systems. They don't just review code for functionality, they also consider the bigger picture, ensuring the AI's output supports the overall architecture and design. Ethical oversight and compliance. As AI systems generate code autonomously, there's a risk of introducing unintended ethical or regulatory issues. Code custodians are responsible for making sure that AI-driven development adheres to industry regulations, privacy standards, and ethical guidelines. This might involve verifying that code respects user data privacy, avoids biases, and remains within acceptable boundaries. And of course, the custodian has one extra job: making sure the AI isn't trying to slip in a hidden implementation of HAL 9000 when no one's looking. Long-term vision and sustainability. Beyond immediate tasks, code custodians also think about the long-term impact of AI-generated code. They ensure that code is maintainable, scalable, and adaptable for future requirements. This includes assessing whether AI outputs are structured in ways that future developers, or future AI, can understand and work with, creating a foundation for sustainable development. Skills and qualifications for a code custodian. Given the breadth of responsibilities, the code custodian role requires a unique blend of technical and non-technical skills. Here are some of the key skills and qualifications that would make someone well-suited to this position. Technical expertise. A strong foundation in coding, system architecture, and software engineering principles is essential. Although they may not code daily, custodians must deeply understand the code they're reviewing to spot potential issues and guide the AI effectively. Prompt engineering and AI tuning. As the bridge between AI outputs and human standards, custodians should be skilled in prompt engineering to fine-tune the AI's responses. This involves creating prompts that guide the AI toward desirable outcomes and adjusting those prompts as the AI evolves. Ethics and regulatory knowledge. Familiarity with privacy standards, ethical AI guidelines, and relevant industry regulations is crucial. Code custodians need to ensure AI-generated code remains compliant and respects both legal and ethical considerations. System-level thinking. Custodians should be able to see how individual pieces of code fit into the larger system. This requires thinking beyond isolated functions and considering how each component interacts with others, ensuring compatibility, efficiency, and scalability. Communication and documentation. Custodians must document their insights, guidelines, and any AI corrections or adjustments. Strong communication skills are essential for translating complex AI behavior and technical decisions to stakeholders and team members, making it clear why certain adjustments or standards are necessary. Adaptability and foresight. Given the rapid evolution of AI technology, code custodians must be adaptable and stay up to date with the latest AI advancements. They should have a forward-looking mindset, anticipating future challenges and adjusting strategies to align with emerging best practices. The role in practice: AI, collaboration, and human in the loop. With the code custodian role defined, it's essential to understand how this position operates day to day. While the idea of AI-generated code may conjure visions of a fully automated development environment, the reality is that effective AI-driven development still requires thoughtful human collaboration. The code custodian's role is all about creating a workflow where human oversight enhances, interprets, and refines AI outputs, ensuring that every line of code generated by AI contributes meaningfully to the project. Real-world examples of code custodianship. To illustrate, imagine a scenario where an AI code generator is tasked with creating a function to handle unpredictable user behavior, such as processing an unexpected input format or handling an unorthodox sequence of API calls. The AI can generate functional code, but when it encounters something outside the cookie-cutter patterns it's been trained on, it might take creative liberties or, worse, miss critical edge cases. This is where the code custodian steps in, verifying that these edge cases are handled thoughtfully and ensuring the AI doesn't introduce subtle vulnerabilities or logic flaws that only a human eye might catch. In another example, let's say an AI model is generating logging and error handling routines for a new application. While the AI may successfully cover basic scenarios, the custodian would look for unconventional situations, such as how the system logs highly sensitive data or behaves under extreme load. Their role is to catch any AI missteps before they become embedded in production code. And naturally, the custodian is also there to ensure that if the AI ever tries to slip in a function to access nuclear codes, it gets flagged as a priority review. Human-in-the-loop workflow. A key part of the code custodian's job is establishing a human-in-the-loop workflow. This involves designing checkpoints where AI-generated outputs are reviewed, validated, and refined by the custodian. The human-in-the-loop process isn't just about catching errors. It's about adding value through human insight, contextual knowledge, and judgment that an AI might miss. This iterative approach is essential for ensuring quality and accountability. AI generation. The AI system generates code, documentation, or test cases based on predefined prompts and standards. Initial review by the custodian. The custodian performs a first pass, looking for obvious errors, standard violations, or potential gaps in functionality or compliance, especially in areas where AI might struggle with edge cases or unusual scenarios. Feedback loop. If needed, the custodian can adjust prompts, add additional context, or refine guidelines, creating a feedback loop that teaches the AI to better align with expectations over time. Approval and documentation. Once the output meets all standards, the custodian documents the review process and any modifications made, ensuring transparency and traceability in AI-driven development. The artisan approach, a modern craftsmanship. The code custodian is more than a reviewer. They're an artisan in the age of AI. Like an artisan woodworker in a factory-driven world, the custodian brings human insight and skilled craftsmanship to automated processes. This approach doesn't just polish AI outputs, it preserves the essential human touch, ensuring that every piece of code generated by the AI serves a purpose, aligns with a vision, and holds up to scrutiny. In practice, this means custodians don't just rubber stamp AI-generated code. They engage with it critically, balancing efficiency with quality. They're there to ensure that AI doesn't compromise on craftsmanship, treating each project as a unique creation rather than a mass-produced output. By fostering this balance, the code custodian ensures that automation supports, rather than undermines, the core values of software development: quality, accountability, and alignment with human goals. Why code custodianship is necessary for AI-driven development. As AI systems become more sophisticated and capable of generating complex code autonomously, some may wonder, why not let the AI handle everything and free up developers entirely? The answer lies in the nuances of software development and the importance of human accountability. While AI can produce code quickly and efficiently, it lacks the depth of understanding and ethical judgment that humans bring to the table. That's where the code custodian steps in, not just as a safety net, but as an essential guardian of quality, ethics, and practicality, ensuring accountability and reliability. One of the primary reasons a code custodian is essential is to maintain accountability. AI-generated code can be highly effective, but without oversight, it's like letting a very intelligent toddler loose in a kitchen. Sure, it might make a sandwich, but you'll probably find peanut butter in the microwave and a milk carton in the oven. The code custodian ensures that the AI-generated ingredients are in their right place, functioning as expected, and serving the intended purpose. Custodians don't just check for syntactic correctness. They look for reliability, maintainability, and compatibility with existing systems. They prevent AI from introducing subtle bugs, inefficiencies, or creative interpretations of a problem that might look clever but could lead to chaos in a production environment. Building trust in AI systems. For organizations to fully embrace AI-driven development, there needs to be a sense of trust in the outputs. AI may generate code, but it's the human who signs off on it, making sure it's not only functional, but also aligned with the organization's values and goals. Code custodians build this trust by reviewing, validating, and, if needed, vetoing AI outputs that don't meet expectations. Think of the custodian as the AI's responsible friend, the one who makes sure it doesn't try to optimize a solution by taking shortcuts that would be embarrassing or catastrophic to explain to stakeholders. By verifying AI outputs, the custodian reassures both developers and management that AI can be a reliable partner, but only with proper human oversight. Preventing the loss of human insight. As AI takes over more coding tasks, there's a risk that human developers may lose the nuanced skills that come with hands-on coding experience. The Code Custodian helps preserve this insight by acting as a translator between AI outputs and the human understanding of software design. They're the bridge that keeps human expertise relevant, interpreting AI-generated code within the broader context of software engineering principles. Additionally, custodians bring critical thinking to the table. For instance, if the AI decides to implement a sorting algorithm that ranks entries alphabetically by default, but occasionally decides to mix in a random order for variety, it's the custodian's job to reel it back in. They keep the AI grounded, ensuring that code is sensible and, yes, entirely free of creative algorithms that would make debugging an absolute nightmare. Future-proofing development teams. With the rapid advancement of AI technology, today's AI-driven solutions may need to evolve or be replaced in a few years. The Code Custodian's role includes ensuring that the AI-generated code is built with the future in mind, modular, scalable, and adaptable. They look beyond the immediate needs of a project to ensure that the code will remain functional and efficient as the technology landscape evolves. By future-proofing AI outputs, custodians make sure that development teams aren't saddled with inscrutable legacy code that no one knows how to update or modify. Imagine opening a codebase years down the road and finding out that the AI decided to invent its own variable naming conventions like X10 FFY or triple-looped magic var. A custodian prevents these surprises, ensuring that every line is understandable and maintainable by future developers or AI systems. How to prepare for a future role as a code custodian. If the concept of being a code custodian sounds appealing, standing guard over AI-driven development, preserving the artistry of software, and maybe keeping an eye out for any rogue AI ambitions, then it's worth exploring how you can prepare for this role today. The journey to becoming a custodian doesn't involve just learning to code. It's about developing a blend of technical expertise, ethical insight, and big-picture thinking. 1. Build a strong technical foundation. A code custodian may not need to code day in and day out, but they must understand code deeply. Brush up on coding best practices, system architecture, and foundational software engineering principles. Knowing the ins and outs of clean code, modular design, and efficient algorithms will allow you to spot errors or missteps in AI-generated outputs, even if you're not writing the code yourself. Think of it this way. To be a custodian, you don't need to cook the AI's creations, but you should know exactly what goes into the recipe and why you'd never substitute cayenne pepper for cinnamon, unless you're in the mood for some very spicy cookies. 2. Develop prompt engineering and AI tuning skills. One of the custodian's key tasks will be guiding the AI to produce code that meets high standards, and that starts with prompt engineering. Experiment with creating detailed prompts that steer the AI's output effectively, and learn how to tweak these prompts when the AI veers off course. Consider it like giving directions to a very intelligent but occasionally forgetful friend. You want to be clear enough that it doesn't end up wandering into territory it wasn't supposed to explore. In addition, Understanding how to fine-tune AI models, either by adjusting parameters or providing targeted feedback, will be invaluable in aligning the AI's responses with the project's goals. 3. Study ethics and regulatory standards. With AI-generated code, ethical and regulatory concerns can become complex. Familiarize yourself with data privacy laws, industry-specific regulations, and AI ethics. Take the time to understand how these standards impact software development, particularly when it comes to user data, transparency, and accountability. For example, as a future code custodian, you'll want to be the one ensuring that any AI-generated code handling personal data doesn't accidentally store it somewhere for safekeeping just because the AI thought it was a helpful feature. Your role here is to channel your inner watchdog and keep any overenthusiastic AI in check. 4. Hone system-level thinking. A custodian needs to understand how individual pieces of AI-generated code fit into the larger system. Practice thinking beyond isolated functions and consider how code interacts with other components in a real-world application. This means recognizing dependencies, assessing scalability, and anticipating how small changes might affect the system as a whole. Imagine opening a codebase and finding that the AI decided to optimize a few functions by changing the entire database schema without telling anyone. System-level thinking prepares you to spot these helpful AI tweaks before they snowball into massive refactoring projects. 5. Strengthen communication and documentation skills. One of the code custodian's most critical roles is ensuring that AI-generated code doesn't become an inscrutable black box. Even if the code is functional and perfectly aligned with project goals, it's essential to understand and explain how it works. In the future, when fewer people may have hands-on coding experience, this ability to demystify AI-driven code will be key to maintaining accountability and transparency. Practice explaining technical concepts in plain language and documenting AI-generated insights thoroughly. Effective documentation isn't just about recording what the AI produced. It's about ensuring that anyone, now or in the future, can understand why it works the way it does. This skill will be invaluable for preserving trust in AI systems and avoiding a situation where code functions, but no one knows why. You'll also need to document any AI-guided adjustments or feedback loops. Remember, this isn't just for posterity. It's also your safeguard if, years from now, someone wonders why the AI developed a preference for camel case over snake case. 6. Embrace adaptability and foresight. AI technology evolves quickly, and a code custodian needs to stay adaptable. Be proactive about learning new AI tools, techniques, and best practices. Cultivate a forward-looking mindset, staying aware of emerging trends and anticipating how they might impact the role. Remember, the custodian's role isn't just about today's code, but about the future of code itself. As more organizations rely on AI, you'll be the one ensuring that automation aligns with human values and goals, not just efficiency and speed. Conclusion: a vision for the future of software development. As AI continues to reshape the software development landscape, the role of the human developer is evolving in unprecedented ways. With advanced code generation models and tools like GitHub Copilot, we're moving toward a future where AI handles more of the day-to-day coding tasks, enabling rapid development at a scale and speed we've never seen before. But as this shift progresses, the need for human custodians of AI-generated code becomes both inevitable and invaluable. The code custodian is not merely a reviewer, but a steward of quality, ethics, and accountability. This role is about bridging the gap between automation and human values, ensuring that AI-driven code aligns with organizational standards, regulatory frameworks, and broader societal goals. It's about being the watchful eye that verifies, interprets, and contextualizes AI outputs, ensuring they don't become an opaque black box or lose the human insight that makes software meaningful and understandable. In many ways, the Code Custodian is a modern artisan, preserving the craft of software development at a time when automation is poised to take over much of the technical work. There's a parallel here to an earlier era. My father was an artisan woodworker in a world that had largely moved on to mass-produced, factory-made furniture. While most pursued speed and efficiency, he chose to uphold craftsmanship, ensuring each piece held a quality and intention that machines alone couldn't achieve. As I reflect on the future of software development, I realize that I'm following in those footsteps, adapting that same commitment to quality and purpose to a new craft: code stewardship in an AI-driven world. The tools have changed, but the principles endure. A dedication to detail, a commitment to consistency, and a belief that some parts of creation must always remain in human hands. By anticipating the need for code custodians, we're not just reacting to change, but actively shaping the future of development. For those who see this role as their calling, the time to prepare is now. Because while AI may take on the bulk of coding tasks, the role of the custodian, to understand, guide, and uphold the integrity of AI-generated code, will ensure that our software remains accountable, transparent, and truly aligned with human purpose. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a step into the future with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think, or if there's a topic you'd like me to explore. Until next time, stay curious, stay ahead.